Joining us now is Russell Starr, President and CEO at Trillium Gold Mines. Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well.
Excellent.
And you?
Doing well, enjoying the conference. That's what's important.
Good, for sure. Yeah. All right, so you're sitting on a large land package in the Red Lake District in Northern Ontario. Yep. You've got something like 88,000 hectares, 16 projects. You made a significant discovery, and you also say you're bringing new mines and new technology to bear. So give us a brief overview of how you're doing that.
Look, whenever you have the size and the substance that we have in terms of our land package, you have to be very, very efficient. From my previous company's experiences, I now realize that there's all sorts of little tweaks that you can do. So, carrying an iPad in the field, GPS logging everything, going back to camp, sending it all to the cloud. Those are little things you can do to be more efficient. But in the end, the reality is we do have a majors property package, like you mentioned, a really, really advanced, in my opinion, discovery project. And then, of course, we just have this phenomenal package in the Confederation Belt that we put together over the last 2.5 years.
Right, and we'll get to that in a second. Yep. So you made a high-grade discovery outside the Newman-Todd zone recently. Yep. You say it's world-class. So what does this mean for expanding the resource? And also, secondarily, why do you think the market just didn't get it?
It's not that the market didn't get it, in my opinion. It's more that the funds that would typically be buying these type of discoveries are all facing redemptions. And so you've ended up with this backwards market in Canada where liquidity is an opportunity to sell rather than an opportunity to buy. Because if you're a fund manager and you're facing redemptions all day long, you have to sell. You don't have a choice. And so we released 2 holes that had multiple world-class discoveries. And when I say world-class, anything over 100 gram per ton meter is a world-class intercept. We had, I believe, 4 of those in these 2 holes, including one of them that's at the deepest part of the project in terms of the grade we discovered. So it's highest grade at the deepest part. Right. And literally our stock was off almost 10%. And again, it's just because you have retail buyers, but they're never going to be able to overwhelm an institutional seller. The good news is, and what we were just talking about today, is I think we've cleaned out that institutional seller.
Well, that's good to know.
Yep.
So you've got 20 high-grade zones, a lot of assays pending.
Yep.
How's it shaping up to be an open pit resource?
So there's 2 different things we're talking about here. Newman-Todd, almost all the drilling is basically from surface down to 400 meters. We ran our own economic model on it. We hired an economic geologist. It's not 43-101 compliant, but prior to most of our drilling, he came up with close to a 2 million ounce non-43-101 compliant resource at about 1.5 grams. Then you add in these holes that we found and in the area that we found them. So for the first time ever, we've hit major high grade in the hanging wall, whereas before they were drilling footwall to hanging wall and not even really intercepting the hanging wall. With this these 2 new intercepts and where they are, I would surmise, and of course I can't say this with certainty, we're going to have to run another economic model, but we're probably closer to 2.3, 2.4 now, and that 1.5 grams has probably gone up because the grade was so much higher. The holes you're talking about are on the Confederation Belt.
Okay, so now we're on the Confederation Belt.
Right,
yep.
Okay.
So when we acquired all this property, obviously that's a big mouthful to chew for a small company. The beautiful thing that happened to us is over the last 40 years, that entire belt was viewed as a VMS belt, and you had majors looking for base metals. They drilled thousands of meters and left all the core on the property. And so we've literally gone out, found all of this core. It's close to 75,000 meters of core. Not all of it's viable, but even if only 20 or 30,000 meters is viable, we literally have a 30,000 meter drill program that we're paying $30 a meter for instead of $275 a meter. And that's what we're running through the assay lab now. It's all over the belt. Tim Toomey, who is largely known as Mr. Red Lake,
right.
Yeah, he's already said, look, you guys probably have a discovery, you just haven't found it yet. So it's, fingers crossed.
So like a Dixie or a Red Lake, that size.
Yeah, well, we have, what I always say to people is, Kinross bought 7 kilometers of strike on the Dixie Fault or the LP Fault. We have 100 kilometers of strike on the LP Fault. Goldcorp, now Evolution, running the Red Lake mine, we have 100 kilometers of strike on the Red Lake Fault. Mother Nature tends to repeat herself. There's no guarantee we're going to find something, but it's certainly a logical or probable outcome given what Red Lake is and the amount of discoveries that already exist on it.
So Russell, you're the largest shareholder of Trillium at 6.7 million, skin of the game, obviously. You're also known as a deal maker. You've got a background in that. So what's the ultimate vision here?
Well, the ultimate vision of every junior should be to sell to a major or turn 20 million into 200 or 400 or $1 billion. It's very infrequent that you end up with a Dixie type outcome where you went from a 20-cent stock to a $26 or $28 stock. But ultimately, that's our goal, literally finding another Dixie-like opportunity or Red Lake opportunity on the Confederation Belt and generating that kind of value for shareholders. And again, it's like winning the lottery 10 times over, but it's doable, and we have the land package to support it.
Exciting stuff. We'll talk to you again.
You got it. Thanks again.
Okay, Russell Starr of Trillium Gold Mines.